Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Windbreaker podcast. I hope you all came here for some welcome shelter from all the political news this week. In which case, tough shit. We're going to talk about presidents. Specifically, we want to talk about what video game leaders we most admire and would want to be president and perhaps placed on a video game version of Mount Rushmore. I'm Yahtzee. I'm joined by Jay and Marty. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello, beautiful.
Trying out some new things.
So,
now recording.
Why don't we start with the thumbnail? Because if there's one person who loves referencing presidents in his games, it's Hideo Kojima.
Yeah, there's like 6. I started making a list and I got like 4 from Kojima games. I'm like, wow, Kojima, you're really giving us a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, because Solid the Snake, of course, was president in Metal Gear Solid 2.
President Sears,
Yeah, and there was that one president who grabs Raiden's crotch in the course of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Oh, that's not good. You don't like that, man. Death Stranding has your mom.
Yeah,
passes away.
Death Stranding is weird on this sort of weird edge of Americana, I suppose.
Yeah, and Die Hard, man. And then Senator Armstrong is very excited for his future in revengeance in American politics, going as far as to say that he is going to make America great again.
Ironically, not the president.
He says that, yeah.
Yeah.
He says that during his boss battle.
Wow.
Yeah, just to make it really on the nose. He's such a magnetic character, is Senator Armstrong. I mean, you can see why people would vote for him.
Because he got big muscles?
I was listening to a podcast about Lyndon Johnson the other day. Apparently, he had this whole thing that they called like the Johnson treatment, where he'd just sort of pin you to a wall and talk at you and just completely dominate you and like push money into your pockets and then send you on your way.
I don't like it.
About the masses.
I don't like calling it the Johnson treatment.
No, I suppose not. But yeah, that's exactly. It seems like the sort of thing Senator Armstrong did on his way up the ladder of power.
Yeah, or just rip people in half.
Yeah, just sort of muscle his way into their personal space.
Yeah,
like,
it's
put his cigar out on their tit like the biker in Terminator 2.
Hell yeah. I always find it fascinating Kojima's clear infatuation and respect for Americana that he imbues in all of his games.
It's a weird.
I feel like you get an interesting view of our own country and history through the lens of someone who did not grow up in that country.
I know what you mean. See also Deadly Premonition by Swery, who's also seems to have a fondness for Americana. I mean, not as much as Kojima. I mean, Kojima, there's literally a sort of Solid Snake version of Mount Rushmore that appears in Metal Gear Solid 4.
That's right.
Bet some of you forgot about that, but they're now remembering it with a joke.
I forgot about it. We played that game like a year and a half ago. I completely forgot about it. Yeah.
There was so many weird things there. The funny thing about Armstrong in Revengeance is that you could tell that they were trying to channel Hideo Kojima, Platinum Games, when they made that game, but where they got it wrong was that they forgot to take themselves completely seriously the whole way through, which is Kojima's pattern. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, where do you fall on the Kojima? Are you a big Kojima boy?
I'm about to drop a bomb. I love the Kojima games, but I've only really experienced them through like really intense video essays. Like I watch lots of content on it, but I've never been able to. When I was a kid, I couldn't get a hold of Metal Gear Solid at all.
You've never played Metal Gear Solid?
Nope. And I guess what? I own them all on Steam now, and I haven't touched them. And if Casey and Marty hadn't already done a series, I probably would have said, "Hey, why don't we stream it?" But they've already done it, so I'm going to plan a big video set of videos on them from like a fresh perspective. You
don't even have hot takes on all the airplane noises they added to Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes.
They added a bunch of airplane noises?
Yeah. I noticed it when I streamed earlier this year. That was great.
Every time a character dives somewhere, they do it in slow motion and add an airplane noise.
Yeah.
So I know a lot, but just haven't like actually held a controller and played them,
fair enough.
but I've seen full playthroughs and
Well,
stuff like that.
that's the opportunity to change the topic. As someone who's not a big Metal Gear Solid boy, where does your head go when you think of great video game precedents?
Immediately it goes to the president in what is it? The Saints Row 4.
Oh,
You play
yeah.
as the president, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
now
that kind of
that's
framing.
Now that certainly was a leader you could get behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally in the character creator in the Oval Office.
Yeah, the series went on a weird path, Saints Row. It starts out as sort of slightly tongue-in-cheek GTA knockoff, as GTA was originally quite tongue-in-cheek, but when GTA started getting a bit grittier with GTA 4, they stuck with that lane and made Saints Row 2, which was a slightly wackier thing, and kept the fully customizable character, but now added a voice, and you could pick which voice pack to give them. I always thought that was a very savvy move because it gave it let the character have their own like voice, but it also allowed the player to still feel like they had a part in the creation of the character.
Yeah,
I think, and the effect is that every time I talk about Saints Row, gets pretty attached to their Saints Row protagonist. I certainly do. Feel like they have to recreate the same character every time they play a sequel. So
didn't they have that in between 3 and 4? You could like import your previous character.
I think so.
Or am I imagining
that? I think so, yeah. No, I think you could. You couldn't do it for all the versions of it, obviously.
No.
Because you went from platforms to platforms. But yeah, I think a lot of people were very invested in their personal Saints Row protagonist being president in Saints Row 4. Yeah.
So that's like, it's I feel like Saints Row 4 is part of like a subgenre of games where you play as either the president or the king or someone who might be running for office of president and or king. Famously, I know we like bringing up the opening twist in Ni no Kuni too.
Oh yes. Where it starts off where you're the president who survives a nuclear blast, and then you look confused and like alt tab back to Steam to make sure you didn't start the wrong game.
And then you get isekai'd. That's
what
you
get isekai'd. Then your president isekai.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the big joke is that's not even the main character of the game.
No. What a game.
More's the pity. I want to just focus on President Isekai the whole way through.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Didn't you become king in Fable? Either you are king or you become king in Fable 3.
Yes, yes. You're the younger brother of the king, who's established to be a huge tyrant. And through the course of like the first half of Fable 3, you sort of overthrow the king. And then in the second half, the king goes, "All right, you can be king then. Oh, by the way, an evil Lovecraftian deity is going to kill us all in like a year. Peace out, bitches." And then you have to deal with that.
The chalice, motherfucker.
Yeah, and it turns out he was being a tyrant because he was, being conservative because he was trying to make sure everyone would survive.
Yeah,
the horrible Lovecraftian being, and then you have to make the decisions. You have to decide if you're going to go with the evil conservative decisions that will make you stronger against the Lovecraftian being, or do the nice things that will make people happier in the moment, but will ensure that you get fucked over in a year's time. And it's it's a pretty clever dilemma, but then Peter Molyneux sort of fucks it up in execution.
I, for one, am shocked that Peter Molyneux would fuck something up in execution.
I know.
Lo and behold.
Crazy, right?
I played that entire game, but didn't remember any of that. Like, that's really cool.
I like the Fable trilogy. Cool. Like, I think 2 is the strongest one because it feels like it actually delivers on some of its maybe its promises were the most conservative and it was able to actually deliver on those promises.
Yeah.
I was expecting most recently Metaphor Refantasio. Obviously the plot is this democratic election to become king under the eyes of the god,
wasn't it?
Yeah. I was without giving away any big plot points or anything. I was partly expecting you become president, and then it turns out, oh no, wait, this is a bad thing. Like you have to do some bad stuff, like being a leader, like have you realized that wears the crown kind of thing. But it doesn't quite go there.
Yeah, I assumed a lot of things about the plot going through it. Mm-hmm. I mean, as they say, without wishing to spoil anything, if a JRPG has a character who's really overtly established as the villain right at the beginning, then there's going to be some fuckery along the way.
Yeah.
And almost certainly you almost certainly will not be fighting them as the final boss.
No. Yeah, you can't possibly. Another game where you assume the role of a president, a famous, I guess a not so famous From Software game. Do you know what I'm thinking? Where you play a president in a mech?
You're going to bring up Metal Wolf Chaos, aren't you?
Metal Wolf Chaos. You play as President Michael Wilson, who dons a big ass mech.
That was the hilarious Japanese developers referencing American politics meme before Senator Armstrong was the meme. Was the go-to meme in that area.
It came out in 2004.
Yeah. And the main villain is the vice president, who has decided he's going to blow up the president in his own mech and then take over the country, which is how it always works.
Why doesn't FromSoft do this more? We gotta stop talking about Elden Lords and Margot Fell Omens. I think Margot might be a king as well. There's probably hella kings in Souls games.
Well, they haven't been slouching on making mecha games. There's not mecha games where you play as the president of the United States.
Not enough presidents in Armored Core, says I.
Agreed.
There's I was thinking of some non-playable kings. I have a fondness for the King of All Cosmos, your pops in Katamari.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't take his responsibilities seriously, but he's certainly got a charisma and a prominent crotch bulge.
Yeah. He does have a prominent crotch bulge. Yeah, he's got big Bowie energy. Yeah, I like that
I want my leaders.
Yeah. He seems like a lush who often forgets that he has a child. And so he's almost like surprised every time he sees you, like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot. I have you. Go do this.
Because of course, if you're not familiar with Katamari, the opening inciting incident of the plot is that the King of Cosmos got drunk off his ass and smashed up all the heavens, and you have to rebuild all the stars in the sky.
Yeah.
And that sort of ties into a part of Japanese culture, because in Japan, being drunk isn't associated with, letting yourself go the way it is in the West. It's not associated with being, someone who's irresponsible or letting their life down. It's associated with being fun. That's why you'll often see fun drunk characters like what's her name in Neon Genesis Evangelion?
Oh, Misato.
Downing beers so much.
Yeah. Oh, she's great. Every time she cracks one of her beers, I'd be like, man, I'd go for a beer. It's 8 a.m, but I could go for one of those beers.
So we hear a story about the King of All Cosmos getting drunk and wrecking up the cosmos, and we imagine, wife beaters and children starving in basements. But the Japanese just think, oh, he just likes having a good time. Good for him.
He destroyed the cosmos, though. That's not good.
It's all in fun.
What is the Japanese view on destroying the cosmos? Like, do they view that as fun?
I mean, maybe they view it as he created a nice little project for his son to put together, and that son will grow and gain moral fiber by going.
Well, they've always been big on kaijus destroying cities. I guess it's just another thing that happens when you nuke someone.
I'm going to be honest. Seeing a big thing wreck shit is just cool. I think that's universal.
Oh, yeah.
Like a big thing wrecking shit, I feel like is like in our DNA.
I wonder why.
Yeah, couldn't possibly tell you why. I also, speaking of kings, Zelda obviously has its share of kings. Best king in Zelda, though, King of Red Lions, because kings that are also boats. Very cool kings.
Granted. I don't know if anyone, there's like a series of comics by an online artist called The King of Hyrule is a Dick. And I'd advise looking them up if you're into Windbreaker, because they're very, very funny. And sort of recontextualize the actions of the King of All Cosmos in that game and make you realize, he was kind of being a huge dick the whole time.
Yeah.
I always think the King of Hyrule has always been a very poorly established character. He's always just king man. Man with big beard and a crown, like Father Christmas.
Who has daughter who's more important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because of that, usually dies, right? Like they usually die or leave or already a ghost.
Right? Actually, he lives through all of Echoes of Wisdom, although he does get replaced by an evil clone for a period.
But
happens the best.
Does he do anything apart from just sit on a chair?
And he literally sends his daughter out to do everything.
Yeah, he just tells Zelda to do all the work.
Yeah.
What a dick.
That's the point of having kids. They can do your work for you. I don't have kids. I assume that's the point of having kids.
Tend to this farm, chillin'.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then there's also the category games have represented real life presidents in a variety of ways.
I have a feeling that let's see how obscure we can get to throw off Eric as he starts Googling. I have a feeling we're going to bring up the ending of The Conduit 2.
We are absolutely going to bring up The Conduit 2.
Where George Washington and Abraham Lincoln show up as like future soldiers.
Yeah. They come out of like a time warp, and it's Lincoln and Washington in like fucking power armor with guns, ready to fuck shit up and help you for The Conduit 3, which did not exist. There was no Conduit 3.
I'm surprised they got I'm surprised they got a Conduit 2 out of it. Conduit 1 was kind of shit.
They knew, they're like, this is how the game's going to end. A portal's going to open, and then you see them walk through, and your character's like, huh? And then you see them. Boom.
Yeah.
Why would they allow you to make a game like that?
Why
Not
wouldn't
more
you?
games should have twists like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something anyone can understand. I mean, the end of Space Marine 2, where the dude takes his helmet off and the game goes, oh, look who it is. And I was like, I don't know who the fuck that is. Yeah. But that, fucking Washington and Lincoln, that works for anyone.
That is true. That does work well.
Amazing.
Black Ops, I believe the original Black Ops had the zombie mode stuff with Lincoln or JFK and Nixon.
Yeah.
Robert McNamara.
Yeah.
Good. What was the fourth one? Lyndon Johnson?
Man, can you imagine what his move would be?
Just whipping his dick out in front of the French ambassador.
Old NBA Jam that came out during the Clinton administration. You could play as Bill Clinton.
Here's the obscure one. Around the time of the 2008 presidential election, I think it was, there was DLC for Mercenaries 2 that allowed you to play as Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Sarah Palin, if memory serves.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird. What? Who wants to play Sarah Palin in a game?
Well, if you want to play as Sarah Palin, now you know how.
I think I'm sick that day. Oh my god, it's real. I keep thinking you're making stuff up, and then
No, that was a thing.
Yeah.
There he is, old Obama driving a tank.
More, a little more recent than that. Obviously, Assassin's Creed games have historical figures, but do you remember the Assassin's Creed 3 DLC? Sort of like
the King Washington.
Yeah, the tyranny of King Washington.
Oh, I didn't play that.
Yes, yeah. I didn't play it. I just knew what it was and what it was about. It was about an alternative timeline where Washington decides to become King of America instead of president.
And it turned out that wasn't good because he was tyrannical.
Yeah, that's a big bad.
Yeah. Do we have any? How come? Does Queen ever show up? Queen Elizabeth? Does she ever show up in games?
Give me a moment.
Civilization or something?
From like Civ, and stuff like that. She shows up.
Elizabeth I. I don't know if Elizabeth II shows up in any games. In Unity, I don't think so.
Yeah, as in Assassin's Creed Unity. That's
Queen Victoria shows up in Syndicate, if that's the one you mean.
Oh, Syndicate. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Actually, she's got a big
after Black Flag.
She's got a big scene at the very end where she shows up to congratulate the main characters and everyone fanboys over her.
I deeply do not remember that.
But I'm trying to remember if Queen Elizabeth II has been depicted in any video games. There was a spitting image game for the Commodore 64 she might have been in.
Yeah.
But I can't quite remember.
I can't think of any video games that Queen Elizabeth II's been in.
I never put her as
Does anyone know? Does anyone know Queen Elizabeth II was in any games? Chat. I mean, you'd think there'd be at least one.
Yeah. There was also a Nintendo game for the 3DS that was like a tactical action game called Project Steam, and one of the characters was steampunk Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
I love it.
I mean, that just makes sense. I mean, the dude already wears a stovepipe hat. Just replace it with a real stove, and bam, easy peasy.
Go. What about like, have you? We've talked about them before, but sort of the like grand scale where you are playing like the leader of an army or a nation. You know, stuff like your civs.
Well, let's not get away from the spirit of the discussion, because if we start talking about leaders, then basically any RPG party leader can be a leader.
No, by that I mean more of like you, because in Civ, aren't you like literally? Do you play as like I'm Gandhi or I'm like?
Yeah.
Like, can you?
Well,
I mean, play as a president.
I don't know. I don't play
You pick-
Civilization
yeah.
much.
You pick a kind of like a country or a civilization from history,
Yeah.
and they kind of pick their most famous leader
Yeah,
to
the AI.
like Gandhi is India,
Yeah.
and
The AIs are always, when you deal with the AI players, they're always represented by the most famous person from that country.
Yeah.
So yeah, India is Gandhi, Queen Elizabeth I for England.
Yeah.
I don't know who they have for America. Probably George Washington or something.
I think it's Washington.
LBJ.
Yeah.
We did a quick Google search for LBJ. They're like, oh damn.
It's Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's Joe.
Yeah, he's that old.
Is that was Pagan Min the king of Kriat in?
He was the ruler of it. I don't know if he was king.
Okay, yeah, I guess I don't know if you could be, because did he just, was it supposed to be a real nation, or was he kind of just like, well, I'm annexing this part of the country and it's mine now, and I rule over it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it was like a micronation.
Gotcha.
Hidden in the Himalayan mountains.
Yeah.
Certainly, certainly had some kind of international like recognition in a sort of North Korean kind of way.
Yeah, he definitely did have like a bit of the Kim Jong Un, Kim Jong Il.
He had North Korea vibes, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like. It's funny that it doesn't. For being, I just feel like there's a million movies and TV shows and stuff about the office of the U.S. president, whether it's like a biopic or a fictional take on a president. And it feels like games have like kind of steered relatively clear of it. There's obviously a few who've like really leaned into the curve with your.
You're asking why has there never been a management game where you literally are the president of the United States running the United States?
To be right, like. There's like, like the idea, like the movies, that game where you're like, oh, you're running a Hollywood studio and you build it up from the ground floor. Like there has to be the equivalent of that.
It's sort of equivalent to Crusader Kings,
right?
For the US.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, maybe the job is boring. Maybe that's why it's like you have to like really.
Well, quite. Yeah, I mean, as I say, Crusader Kings, which is set in medieval times, it lets you play as like contemporary kings of medieval Europe. But that's because history at that time was all like wars and
incest,
chaos, kidnappings, invasions, all that kind of shit. And these days, politics is more sort of it's usually based on just paperwork and meetings. I think in the last couple of years, the American presidency has become associated with slightly different ways of approaching things, and perhaps that will get us back on like contemporary subject matters.
Yeah. Abdel Corrales mentions the Tropico games where you play as like a dictator of a banana republic.
Oh yeah.
Which,
but again,
that would have more fun options.
That's more fun.
Yeah.
Why? So I guess the real question is, why isn't there a game where you play as Kim Jong Un controlling with like a management game running North Korea? I mean, literally anyone could probably run the country better than he does.
I bet if you dig deep enough into Steam, there's a game.
Yeah, you got to figure out how much money you're going to divert into making nuclear weapons, and how much is going to go into growing grass on the front lawn of the palace for people to eat.
There's definitely probably a mod for like Tropico or something like that, or Civ.
Yeah. That's really funny.
By the way, vote Democrat if you're in America.
Please.
I on behalf of Second Wind officially endorse the Democrats and Kamala Harris, the president. Why the fuck not? I mean, I heard someone said the other day that they had a sign in their window that said Harris Waltz, and then under that, obviously, sort of in italics.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of sums it up for me.
Yeah.
And go vote. Go vote.
Yeah.
If you have the means, go do it.
Yeah,
Because,
Marty, vote.
Yeah.
You're literally the only one here who
You know
can
what?
vote.
I'm
You
gonna
go
vote
do
for.
that.
I'm gonna vote once for each of you guys.
That's
Oh,
legal.
yay.
Oh God.
Yeah,
That's
You just want
not
free
fraud.
cookies, dude. You just want free
Yeah.
cookies.
I do want. Yeah, I'm gonna go 3 times. I mentioned earlier how my local voting place has homemade cookies after you vote, which is very exciting. I think it's great.
Yeah. See, that's the standard in Australia. Like, it's like tradition for there to be a sausage sizzle at the voting party.
I still think a sausage sizzle is such a. First off, a sausage sizzle is
Yeah.
just like a wonderful mix of words. But I just
Yeah.
really like the idea of going rocking the vote, and you get a little sausage on the way out.
Oh yeah.
Incidentally, Australia also has really spectacular voting participation. And you know why? Because it's the law. They've got mandatory
Oh.
voting over there. If you don't vote, you get fined.
Oh, I thought it was good because of the sausage sizzle.
No. Well, the sausage sizzle is sort of this carrot where the fine is the stick.
Well, no, you just get fined if you don't take the sausage sizzle. You've got to take one, and they watch you eat it.
Yeah, it's un-Australian to not go to the sausage sizzle afterwards.
Exactly.
It was so weird hearing the word un-Australian. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever heard on any other nation except American.
Yeah, it certainly sounds weird if you say un-British.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's
I mean,
because nobody else says it. Nobody else
I guess
uses it in that
I
context.
think it's because the US is more sort of fervently patriotic and has a much clearer national identity.
Yeah.
And Britain, well, most modern British people are sort of embarrassed about British imperialism.
Oh, yes.
So aren't quite so patriotic in that way.
I was asked that
I'm also embarrassed
yesterday.
about America.
Met some Americans, and they asked me about how I felt about the royals and that whole
Yeah.
system. I just didn't know what to say. I was like,
Oh, I got a fucking text from mother-in-law on the day like Queen Elizabeth died, and she said, "I just heard. Let me know if you need any support."
Was it serious?
God.
Said, "I don't fucking care. I didn't know the woman."
That'd have been funny if you would have
People know the
tried to.
Queen.
If the two of you would have tried to take time off from work, like I need some time
Yeah.
to grieve.
Yeah. In this,
Well, apparently
this
we might
day-
have got away with it. So
Oh yeah. No, I remember there's an episode of The Simpsons. Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Lisa sees her future and she gets engaged to a British lord?
Yeah.
Well, there's a scene in that where the Simpsons sort of accidentally burn and shove manure onto a British flag, and it makes the British guy cry. And that scene never rang true for me. I was like, well, British people wouldn't give a shit. It's just a flag. It's a bit of cloth. We don't have that flag fetishism that the Americans do.
Yeah, I always notice it more on. I watch a lot of American football, and they'll always during the games they'll have like the flyovers, and then you'll sing the national anthem and God bless it. Like it's just like 4 different patriotic songs, and then $1 million worth of jets flying over, and I'm like, what are we doing? Who enjoys this? That being said, jets are cool. I think jets are cool because they can blow up the kaiju when they attack.
no, they can't. They fail.
Oh, no, they can't. They try.
blow up the
They
kaiju.
try and they fail so miserably. Incredible.
Well, anyway, shall we go to super chats since I guess we got distracted from the video game theme? All right then. Sir Goodwill gives 29.99 PLNs and says, "Oh, hang on, is that the first one?"
No, that's not the first one at all. I think that was a huge lie. I think Foss is my first one.
Oh, there we go. Yes. Foss gives £9.99 and says, "My fave will always be Commander Zavala from Destiny 2. Lance Reddick embodied that role. His speeches were a rallying cry for the community. Keith David brings a new take to Zavala, which works well."
I didn't know
Keith David's in fucking everything.
I didn't know he does the new Zavala.
Yeah.
He took over Lance Reddick. Man, what a pair of people to play a character.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Keith David was great. We just did our monthly Phoenix tier Patreon movie hang the other week and watched The Thing. Let me tell you, Keith David.
Yes, I forgot he was in that.
He may or may not be a thing. There's no way to know.
He was also in Saints Row 4 playing Keith David.
Yeah.
Just literally
Playing.
Isn't
Yeah,
he
he was-
your vice president or like your?
Yeah. You literally hired Keith David to be your vice president because you thought you needed a firm fatherly voice.
I mean, he's great. Yeah.
He's the
I need
one.
to go back and play those.
And he's the one party member you can't seduce because Keith David ain't up for that shit.
Yeah, standards.
Unseducible.
Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, doing okay, except my dumb friends are trying to convince me VR with motion controls are the best ever and using Superhot VR, Half-Life Alyx, and Beat Saber as proof. Well, you know what? Beat Saber's a lot of fun in VR.
Yeah.
As much as I'm down on motion controls generally. I think it's fine.
And also, Half-Life Alyx might be one of the best VR experiences ever made. It's insane. But I do feel like if you take it out of VR and just made it a mouse and keyboard game, it would be very lackluster. But the action of having the motion controls and reloading the gun and shooting yourself and stuff is good. You should, Alex, give it a go. I highly recommend Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, still going to be relegated to a niche because it's VR. It's a very, very well made game.
I did a quick little replay of Arkham Asylum this weekend, and man, I really want to play that Arkham VR game.
Me too. I want to get a quest free.
Yeah.
Or I want just someone else to play it and just tell me all about it.
Well, watch a YouTube Let's Play. That's what they're for.
But I don't know that person.
Well, someone buy me a Quest 3 and I'll do a review of it in fully random. Nick.
Hey, Nick already said he'd get me one. Nick, please.
Nick. Hey, I'm the tentpole reviewer. Send me one.
You get a Quest 3.
Damn it.
How about you each get a Quest 1.5?
All right.
But then we'd have to combine our powers, like in fucking Dragon Ball Z.
You get the left eye, you get the right eye.
Both wearing the headset, press the controllers together.
Fox D gives $5 and says, Mr. House of Fallout New Vegas. Classic, say what you will about him, but he's better than any of the alternatives type.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played a lot of the Fallout games. They're patriotic, or like they have a skewed vision of patriotism, right?
Satirical,
Sometimes,
like, look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the one set in Washington? Was that Fallout 3?
I mean, was
No,
it
Fallout 3 is in
Texas, Appalachia? Right?
Boston is Fallout? Oh, no, that's Fallout 4.
Yeah.
That's Boston.
So it just might be Fallout 3? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fallout 3 was DC.
76.
Was the president just like a big old mutant?
I think, yeah, what a part of the plot in 3 was that there's a president who's like a computer president or something.
President John Henry Eden.
There you go.
Kit.
Is he a brain in a jar?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Sure.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, you know the most badass leader, Saints Row Protag? Yes, certainly was.
Did you get elected as president in Saints Row? What happened there?
Yeah. Well, you in the intro, you foil a terrorist bombing by riding the missile down to ground and become like an international hero. And that's how you get elected president.
You ride it down to the ground like in Dr. Strangelove? Like you just kind of mount it like a...
You sort of like sacrifice yourself and then deflect it so it lands harmlessly somewhere, and you parachute into the Oval Office as a sort of like reference to the fact that you will now be elected president because you're so popular with the people.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's how our elections go. Apparently, that president in Fallout 3 was voiced by Malcolm McDowell as well.
I thought he was. That just popped into my head.
Yeah.
Weird that the president should be a British person, but, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger can be governor of California. Anything can happen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you know that Dr. Bashir, Alexander Siddig, his maternal uncle is Malcolm McDowell?
Really?
Wow.
In fact, he changed his name from Siddig El-Hadil to Alexander Siddig in reference to the character Alex, played by Malcolm McDowell in A Clockwork Orange.
Okay.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Because they are a horrific character.
Well, nevertheless.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite Kubrick films, Clockwork Orange, but yeah.
It's an incredible film.
Yeah, goody.
It is a bit rapey.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
But, you know, that's kind of the point. John Brooks gives £10 and says, the best, worst, and weirdest leader in video games, me, in every Age of Empires, Civ, and Historic and Warhammer Total War campaign I have ever done.
There we go.
Do you think anyone's ever played through one of those campaigns and like cracked their knuckles and was like, yeah, I could do this. I think this is some good on-the-job training. I think I'm ready for it.
all the
What
time.
is there a game you've played where you finished it and you've thought I could do this in real life?
Truck Simulator?
Probably
Oh, man, I
not.
don't think I could drive a truck. I'd like to power wash in real life. I think
I
that'd be
can barely
very-
drive a truck in Truck Simulator.
I want to
Mm.
power wash. I want to put me in Shrek's house and let me just power wash that fucker.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty easy. You just point. You point
it
the
just-
thing.
And it just feels like it would be very gratifying.
Mhm.
King and Commoner gives $5, who has a very appropriate name for this podcast, I should say, and says, "Got to give props to President Michael Wilson for Metal Wolf Chaos. The reason is because he is the President of the United States of America."
Man, I miss that. FromSoft undoubtedly are making better games than they've ever made, but I miss back when they were just putting out real weird shit to like the
Tongue in
highest.
cheek.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Suda 5-1 sometimes. I miss when they were really punk before they were mainstream punk.
I think maybe FromSoft are just taking their, ever since Dark Souls or Demon Souls, they're just taking their narratives a bit too seriously, and it's all very glum and dark and rich with lore, which I absolutely love. But I also do want to see them do something kind of weird and fun.
I think I said in one of my Semi-Ramblematics recently, the secret spice of the From Software game is there's always a little like sort of cheeky sense of humor there, like the punch mushrooms and the turtle with the Pope hat.
It always feels like they want to like. There's someone on the team who's like, we want to do this, but this is all we can get in this game.
I just want more of it.
Yeah,
it feels like they dip a toe in, and I want to put an entire get your ankle in there.
Yeah. Get your ankle.
Gives $2 and says, in honor of Dr. Theo and their missing super chat.
Thank you, Dr. Theo. Couldn't donate today. R.I.P.
Oh,
Dr. Theo. Not R.I.P.
Then
Dr. Theo's not dead.
And then Sir Goodwill gives $29.99 PLNs and says, if you could make any minor NPC a leader just to see chaos unfold, who would it be? And congrats on your first anniversary. Well, hold on to those congrats for a bit longer. We're doing a special day of streaming to market.
Yeah, Saturday the 16th.
Yeah.
We'll all be there. Will you?
It's coming.
NPC, like what character would you just immediately vault into being?
A Moogle from Final Fantasy.
Resident Moogle? Could you imagine?
Yes.
Or like a Luma.
It would be the best presidency.
Just saying fucking Koopo all the time?
Ooh,
They
Patches.
could talk in some. I think in Final Fantasy 9 they could talk.
Yeah, I believe in 6 they can talk as well. Patches? You think Patches for pres?
Patches. President Patches.
Well, he certainly knows how to stab the right back.
That's true.
I know, right?
Yeah. Tingle?
He was like, instead of building a wall, he would just dig a massive pit in the center of America and just just stand by it and just kick people into it.
Yeah, he'd just wait for Putin to come along and he'd say, hey, I think there might be some unoppressed Ukrainians down there.
And he kicks him right in the ass. Classic Patches.
Oh, there's some shiny nuclear weapons down there.
Yeah.
Kick.
Vintage Patches.
Abdel Corrales gives $5 and says nothing. And then Alex Armstrong comes back with $2 and says, Borderlands Handsome Jack wins most insane leader.
Yeah, I don't trust that man.
He runs one of the corporations, right? The like. I might be remembering it wrong.
Yeah, I believe so. And like the corporations are ostensibly the government in.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, edgy.
In Borderlands. You know what? I feel like corporations are government. Am I right? Bezos. Bezos bucks. Google.
Yahtzee will wear a green hat in 5 weeks. Gives €2 and says Wigglytuff from Mystery Dungeon would get my vote.
Really?
Sorry, I just counted 5 weeks, and you could do a really funny thing by wearing a green hat to Omar's wedding.
Is Wigglytuff the evolution of Jigglypuff, or
Correct.
is it the other way around?
No, Jigglypuff is a base. Wigglytuff is its evolution, and I believe there's Igglytuff, which was added later as the baby version of Jigglypuff.
Oh my goodness! That's got even fewer letters.
That's cute. I like it.
Yeah, I believe Wigglytuff looks almost more like a rabbit,
Yeah.
like kind of like a fat rabbit.
Yes.
Mhm.
And Jigglypuff's just like a ball.
Yeah, with a little
Just a
kind of
just a
swirly
little-
hair thing on top.
just a little hairy testicle of a Pokemon.
Yeah. Real little hairy testicle.
Yeah.
Not a fake one.
Look who it is. It's Tsunami Dusha giving $20 and saying nothing as always.
Welcome, Tsunami Dusha.
Legend.
Thank you for your douching.
And then Fox D gives $2 and says El Presidente from Tropico needs mentioned, which we did bring up.
There you go.
Mhm.
El Presidente.
Sovereign gives €10 and says this is a very boring pick, but I'd say NCR President Tandy from Fallout 2. Just a very competent leader that everyone loved. Then in Fallout New Vegas, it's shown that everything went downhill the moment she passed away. Well.
That's how you know she did a good job.
If you want a female president to come along and sort everything out, I've got good news for you. You can make that happen, Americans, tomorrow or already if you've already voted.
And if you go to certain municipal halls in rural Wisconsin, maybe you'll get a cookie for your.
Yeah, maybe.
Or if you fly to Australia, maybe you'll get a sausage. Who knows? Wait, that's the lady we were talking about. Who's the good president? She looks a little bit like a zombie. She looks like.
Do you reckon Kamala would be like even further into the running if she looked like that? If she looked like a ghoul?
That's what she will look like if she gets 2 terms by the end of it. That's what always happens to presidents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ever look at, compare a picture of Barack Obama at the start of his presidency and at the very end, it's like he aged 20 years.
But then you get some of those years back afterwards. Like Obama looks better now than he did in 2016.
Well, I'm sure he's got plenty of time to go skiing and shit now.
Clinton's still looking great, just playing saxophone, ogling, doing a ton of ogling.
I'm sorry, have you seen Clinton lately?
Yeah, he was very old looking when he gave his speech at the DNC.
Yeah, he's lost so much weight. He's like a scarecrow now.
He went to McDonald's though.
Oh my god.
Remember when he used to go running and going to McDonald's and get a breakfast sandwich? The 90s were wild. He'd wear these shorts and he'd go on a run and he'd go to McDonald's every day and get a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Every day? As the president?
As president.
Would he be like followed by an entourage of Secret Service peeps or?
I think so.
One would assume.
I don't have all the answers.
Yeah. Crazy.
You don't like breakfast sandwiches?
I don't really like egg.
Oh.
I don't really like egg-based foods, like scrambled eggs and fried eggs and shit. I mean, I'll eat eggs if it's like in a cake batter or something and made into a cake.
I don't like food-based eggs.
But if it's primarily egg-focused dishes, I really can't stomach it.
Oh,
it's
man,
the texture.
I love it.
Oh, okay, fair.
Orange Kitty, member for 11 months in the Green Gang, says the president who gets capped 3 minutes into RE6. Was that supposed to be Ashley's dad? I always wondered that. Because Ashley, of course, in RE4 is like the president's daughter. And then in RE6, Leon has to put down a zombie president, and it's established that he and the zombie president were old friends. So I assume maybe they became... He must be Ashley's dad, yeah?
Yeah.
That's supposed to take place like more than 8 years later, is it?
I don't know, but they seemed pretty chummy, and one way to get chummy with a president would probably be to rescue their daughter from evil Spaniards.
Yeah. That's the quick way to make friends, and then take a cool jet ski ride together.
You know, it's possible that Leon was just in the Secret Service and then was like served every president, but I think it's common for like the personal bodyguards of a president to like be attached to them after their presidency as well.
I think Leon Kennedy is more of a title, like a James Bond. That's how I think Leon's work.
Well, that would explain a few things.
Yeah.
And they have to get like facial reconstruction surgery to look like Leon.
No, just the haircut. Just the haircut. That's all anyone notices.
Completely different.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, more charismatic leaders of all, Far Cry villains.
Which Far Cry main villain would you be fine with seeing as president? Probably none. Like Voss, I don't want as president. Pagan Min, maybe better than the crazy like religious cult in Far Cry 5. I don't want them.
What about Gus Fring in Far Cry 6?
Yeah, I'd say Gus
Very
is character.
He's very charismatic. So yeah, the Jackal.
I can just see him as a leader, right?
Sure.
What's the actor's name?
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. Esposito, like
Fantastic
Ben Esposito.
actor.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Although it's weird how he looks so much older in Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
When it's supposed to take place before Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Bloody time, how dare you?
I guess that's the problem with all the actors in Better Call Saul, thinking about it.
Yeah.
Cesar Espinoza gives 5 pens and says, when playing in current consoles, do you guys go for performance or fidelity mode? I usually go performance because I'm used to being a PC gamer.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah, I usually go performance as well. Because a lot of times I'll be playing like if I'm playing something for work on a smallish monitor, like fidelity
Who cares?
that important. Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like, we're usually capturing footage for work, and having a 60 FPS performance mode is just going to give smoother gameplay for the videos and stuff.
Yep.
Prize Fighter gives $4.99 and says, creating inaccurate leader history in Civilization games is always worth a laugh. Isn't it true that Gandhi was always like the massive warhawk because of a bug in like old Civilization games?
He would rush nukes, I believe. And
he was supposed to have the lowest aggression, but there was some quirk of the programming that it rolled back to maximum aggression somehow.
Yeah, they set it to 0 or something, but it rolled back and went to 100, and he just started nuking everyone. It was amazing.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, Bowser's a working class leader. I'd vote for him. Yes, and not afraid to be hands-on. That's always something I respected about Dr. Robotnik as well. He was always prepared. He was always showed on to fight you personally in every boss fight. He might have put animals in robots, but he wasn't above demonstrating he was willing to put faith in his own machines.
Yeah. Yeah, I always appreciate that.
Like, you'd say to him, how would you like it if we put you in a robot? He'd be like, I'd do that to myself every fucking level.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
See that robot? It looks like me. I'm in it.
Yeah. What are you complaining about?
That's me.
Yeah. Now you're much harder to kill, arguably. Although you still explode in one hit if Sonic touches you.
I always like a robot or a ship that looks like its creator. Or the person inside of it, like a Dr. Robotnik robot that looks like him, or like Samus's ship that's just her head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my favorite one of that is...
why did he even need to put animals in the robots? I mean, they weren't piloting them because they were acting hostile towards Sonic.
It was lonely.
Or maybe they were piloting them. Maybe the animals were going, no, please don't break me out of this shell, Sonic. I really like being in this robot body.
I finally have a job. I have responsibility.
Sonic, I can pick things up. I have thumbs in this robot.
No, Sonic, you're taking those away from us.
Yeah, Robotnik was the people's hero, turns out.
Yeah.
Some people call Robotnik the people's princess.
Hjorth87 gives DKK50 and says, not gang per se, but Kane from Command & Conquer, the leader of the Brotherhood of Nod. He's camp, he's hammy, he's great. A real villain.
I like that. I like a little camp. I like a little ham.
Yeah.
I feel like in some of these games too, there was it a Command & Conquer game where J.K. Simmons played a president?
I think so.
President
yeah, before he was like really famous.
Simmons. Yeah, back when he was doing games. Yeah, Howard T. Ackerman.
Do you know what? I've been playing, because it came through my graphics card, I've been playing a bit of Star Wars Outlaws, which I know you guys have covered, but
it's a load of old shite.
It's not a load of old shite.
Well, it's certainly one of the games of all time. But the main thing that I did enjoy about it was the fact that the main villain, every time they kept cutting back to him, he was just crying about his ship. And he was just like, they took my ship. It's so important to me. And then it would cut away. And I'd be like, do you know what? I can relate. This is just some ultra rich, powerful dude who only gives a shit about his collectible item.
I got one thing and I really like it. And they took it from me.
And I was like, I really like this. He's not trying to ruin the world. He's just like upset you've taken his ship. I love it.
It's like he took away Donald Trump's gold toilet.
Oh, that's where I take my shits.
No, it's like how Team Rocket in the Pokemon anime was like really obsessed with kidnapping Pikachu for some reason.
Yeah.
I like it.
Big Barazzi gives $5 $SAR and then says nothing, trying to rip off Tsunami Douche's shtick.
Ooh.
And then I Believe in Doodoo Man gives $5 and says, clone of best president in history, FDR, in the worst Beth game in history, Starfield. Not going to say who I voted for, but it upset 98% of you.
Wait, did FDR was in like a clone of FDR is in Starfield.
Man, they should have front-loaded that higher.
Yeah, should be the first character you meet in Starfield.
They should have
Yeah.
done anything with front loading anything other than that god awful tutorial. My
There
god.
you go. Fox Teague is $5 and says, "Oh shit, hang on, it jumped down on me. The US election would be a lot better if more than 7 states got a voice in the outcome. It's something a game would do as a parody of elections." Well, I keep saying, like, drop the fucking electoral college thing and just make it the popular vote. But then you bring that up and they say, no, but then the Republicans would never get to be in power. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it fucking works. It's not like
sounds like democracy.
It's not like 5-year-olds playing. It's not like you won last time, so now you have to let me win to be fair.
Yeah.
So, educate me. Electoral college, in baby dumb terms. What is?
Well,
Each
basically, how it works is each state has a set number of electoral college votes, and whoever gets the most of those gets to be president. So, California has 54 electoral college votes. If California, like, as a whole, votes for you to be president, then you get 54 points.
Okay.
And the first one to 270 gets to be president. And the reason why it's fucked is because California has 54 and Wyoming has 3 to reflect the difference in population. But that is still massively overrepresenting Wyoming.
Yeah.
Because Wyoming has a population of like 500,000 people and California has like 100 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think for it to be fair, I looked at this up once. Wyoming would have to get 1 electoral vote and California would have to get like 117.
Jeez.
For it to represent population.
So is that why swing states are really important? Because
yeah.
Or is that just because it's like undecided and you have lots of
like
electoral?
Wisconsin has 10 or whatever.
Because it's all or nothing. Wisconsin has 10 points if it's like 49% Democrat and 51% Republican. All those points go to the Republican president nominee.
Wow.
I know. It's dumb.
Yeah.
It is dumb.
As a resident of Wisconsin, it is very dumb that so many elections come down to like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. What are we doing in Ohio?
Go out and vote, guys.
Get those cookies.
Yes. For fuck's
Get
sake.
those sausages.
Get those sausage bakes. Sausage sizzles, excuse me.
Oh, here comes Big Barazzi again to give 10 SRs and say, games where you play as president, democracy. Well, certainly what it feels like these days, thanks to the fucking mainstream media.
Don't worry, you can go on Twitter. That's where real news. That's where that billionaires don't have their fingers in the pie of Twitter.
Grr, shake fist.
Good.
Alex Armstrong gives $2. Says best leader of all time, Baltimore or Taparella? Well, perhaps I shouldn't answer this one because I'm biased.
Also, season 4 might sway us one way or another.
Man, that's very true. I'm swinging towards Mort, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Well, you're a sucker.
Get fucked.
Big Barazzi then comes back with $10. Says Ronald Reagan is an AI god in Wastelands 3. Man,
I don't know if these
what
things
is it with
are
all
real.
these?
Are these things
all
real?
These fucking
People is making them up.
all these fucking post-apocalyptic games and their fucking AI presidents. Pack it in.
FDR in Starfield and Ronald Reagan AI god in Wasteland. Very good.
Hjorth87 gives 20 Danish kroner and says, fun fact, Far Cry 5 was 80% off /after January 6th. Was that coincidence or just very savvy marketing?
One person just like went into the Steam store and was like, Plunk. That's
amazing work.
Well, remember like what was Iron Lung, didn't it?
Iron Lung, I was just about to say that.
After that the sub explosion or implosion or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like some massive spike in sales.
James Morgan gives $1.99 and says, have you ever tried Virtuix Omni? No. That's the first time I've ever seen those letters of the alphabet put together in that specific order.
That's the treadmill thing. I have tried this actually. I tried this at like a PAX or something a long time ago.
Oh,
it's like
omnidirectional treadmill. You should have said.
Yeah. It's that. Have you ever tried that?
I feel like I'd get very tired very fast.
Yes.
And one of the advantages of controllers is that you can just play Half-Life all day and not get really, really tired.
Yeah.
but it is good for you to get tired. Like,
Well, maybe I don't
feel like
want
a
to
lot of
do
gamers
things that are
need
good for me.
exercise.
Maybe I want to veg on the couch and eat cake.
Yeah.
All right, fair
It's
enough.
when I'm having my fun times.
You can eat cake on the Omni as well.
But I'd
Yeah, then
probably
drop it
spill
and
the
step on
cake.
it.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Do you
Spilled my
spill
cake?
cake?
I
Do you
wouldn't say
spill cake? Is it a liquid?
You spill a solid
Well, if it's something like a
crummy
chantilly
pie?
cake, then if the chantilly cake fell off the plate, then you'd get cream all over whatever it fell on, and that
Ooh,
would feel like a
okay,
spillage
fair
to
enough.
me.
That is spilling a cake. Yeah.
Chantilly cake.
Yeah, you've had chantilly cake, surely.
Maybe I've had it. I only know Chantilly from Chantilly Lace, the song.
Well, chantilly cream is just like whipped cream with like a bit of icing sugar in it
Oh yeah, I
to
fucked with that.
to firm it up a bit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and Whole Foods actually does a really nice chantilly cake with just like the entire outside is covered in chantilly cream, and there's like berries and stuff in the middle.
Look at that.
I kind of want one now. Yes, Eric, there you go. That's a chantilly cake.
That looks great. Looks very patriotic too.
Witticism gives $20 and says, "Big chat this week. Wanted to say how much I enjoyed last week's episode. I'm sorry I couldn't catch it live. I did catch a screening of Grand Theft Hamlet the day before, and that movie has a lot of heart. I recommend it."
Oh, that's great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we talked about that's the production of Hamlet inside of GTA Online.
Well, they should have done it in Red Dead Redemption Online. Maybe that would give that game something to fucking
Arthur.
do.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, so true.
Fungus Finder gives $2, says, "Yeah, it's his money to please the editors to vote again." Vote, you big idiots. Unless you want your spouse to die of a septic abortion.
There you go. Gonna
Fair
say that
point.
myself.
King and Commoner gives $5 and says, "Feels appropriate to bring up Andrew Ryan, visionary leader of Rapture, who's definitely not at fault for anything." Well, it's just because people weren't objectivist enough.
Would that have fixed everything?
If everyone had been more objectivist, that society would have worked perfectly.
Hey, it wasn't Andrew Ryan's fault. It was all the drugs. It was the plasmid's fault.
It was New Year's Eve's fault. Everyone got too rowdy.
How dare you roll over into a new celestial cycle, you fucks?
Oh. I think the point of Bioshock was that if you've got a vision for utopia, that's literally only your vision for utopia. And if you try to force everyone else to live in it, there's a lot of people who will have arguments over what actually counts as utopia.
Agreed.
Because I'm sure some people would find some things to be utopia that a lot of other people wouldn't. Like some people like eating fish. And so my idea of utopia would be one where nobody eats fish because I don't like fish.
No, I don't want to live there.
There you go.
Quick revolt.
Dale Mallows gives $2 and says, "I need to take a piss." Well,
Do you think he's pissed himself this whole time? Oh my god, Eric, look what you pulled up. Little baby cherub taking a piss.
There's a British euphemism for taking a piss that is called spending a penny. Because the coin-operated toilets in old London town used to cost a penny.
That's good.
Yep. You got to pay to take a piss.
But Dale Mallows spent $2 to take that piss, which is a lot more than a penny.
Expensive piss.
That's like 200 pisses.
I know.
Yeah, I guess he's sort of, thinking ahead. He just sort of banked 200 pisses for the next few months.
He's got, yeah, exactly.
Or he's paying it forward, right? He pays $2 and the toilet is open for 200 pisses.
Oh wow,
Like,
what a
pass on to the next
humanitarian.
person. I know.
Sir Goodwill, member for 5 months in Dipjar. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Alex
Goodwill.
Armstrong gives $2 and says, "Weirdest for me is Robotnik. He wants theme parks."
I'm kind of pro theme parks. So I'm pro. If that's
Yeah.
what Robotnik is running on, I'm kind of pro that.
I mean, he wanted theme parks and to kill all the woodland creatures or turn them into robots.
I'm extremely allergic to animals with dander, so if he wants to put those animals in robots, I'm not allergic to robots, so I might be pro Robotnik, if I'm being honest.
But what if they have robotic arms that like funnel the dander into like streams that
Oh
could
my
like
god!
laser
They
focus
just shoot
blast you?
dander
Yeah,
dander strings at me.
it kills people with allergies.
I mean, I guess he wanted to take over the world, but I feel like someone like Robotnik would be very bored after he'd taken over the world. It feels like he's someone who needs to have a project to get by. I think he'd probably just leave the actual running of the world to local governance and just spend all his time with his model train set after that.
Yeah, knitting is a good hobby rather than taking over the planet.
He gets really into baking sourdough.
Yeah. Gildan Yetic gives $5 and says, Metaphor Fantasio's king comes back as a Majora's Mask moon, saves his assassin, and mandates democracy with big Oz the Great and Powerful energy.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a weird one, that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. It's got a lot of heart. A lot of heart in that scary democracy moon.
Yeah. His heart's in the right place, orbiting the Earth inside a giant moon. The dogmatic director, open brackets, J.L. Percival, close brackets, gives $2 and says, didn't COD Blops 2 have a female president in 2025? I think a lot of things have had a female president at one time or another.
And I think it was almost like a Hillary Clinton surrogate. Man, I forgot about that now until that moment. Marion Bosworth.
Oh, there you go. I think Bombshell, the game, the top-down shooter, had a female president.
Bombshell.
Meister Heister in the chat lets us know that Vanquish had a female president. I don't remember that.
Progressive Shinji Mikami games.
Yeah.
Who do you think was president in Silent Hill 2?
James's dad. Then he retired to run a apartment complex.
There you go.
My dad couldn't be president.
My dad's dead, so he can't be president. Dead people can't be presidents. Think about that.
BS Marsh gives $2. Says, I already voted. Have some cash.
Congrats, BS Marsh. We're proud of you.
Genova Studios gives $5 and says, Yahtzee, Cadbury egg good, normal egg bad. No full English for you. Can we make Albert Wesker actually president? Now sing the random document song. No. But I will say that if you took most breakfast dishes and replaced the egg with a Cadbury egg, they would suddenly become a lot more palatable to me.
It's a nice little sweet treat for you at the end, maybe.
Yeah.
I love a good full English. Oh.
I mean, sausage, Cadbury egg, and bacon muffin. I could see that working pretty well.
Here's the thing. Well,
what's in a full English?
Egg, toast, maybe fried toast, black pudding, and that was the thing I was going to ask. What's your gauge on black pudding? Bacon, sausage, beans, usually like baked beans. This is a British thing.
Yeah, full English is basically just every single food one could conceively have for breakfast.
Hash
on a big
browns.
Plate.
Yeah. I don't need the black pudding. Everything else sounds great though.
I have never had black pudding. I mean, I like sausage generally.
Yeah. Dude, I love black pudding. People get put off because it's blood sausage, right? But it is delicious. Like, it's so good. Highly recommend it.
Perhaps I should try it one of these days.
You should.
Yeah, if you took a full English and took away the egg and put on a Cadbury egg, that would probably be an ideal breakfast for me.
Nice little breakfast dessert at the end.
Yeah. Anyway. Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, Psychonauts' Truman Zanotto wins worst. Got his head get captured by a dentist and his body taken over by a bratty Grolovian prince. What a tosser.
Such a good sentence. Also, Truman Zanotto is such a good name.
Yeah.
Like, that is just an A+ name.
That is a presidential name.
Yeah. If you rearranged it, it's Otto Zahn Truman, which is also a good name for a president.
Did you just do that in your head?
Yes.
Did you know if you can change Alec Guinness to genuine class?
All I did was move two syllables around.
It's a lot of work.
Man, I love living in America. They're all weirdly impressed by simple mental feats, like being able to count.
We're incredibly dumb. We're super dumb. It's very impressive.
Hey, check this out. Tomatoes has got 8 letters in it. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. I still think it's wild that you just know. I think it's wild that you know.
Well, I don't just know. I can count them. Like, I just saw the word restaurant in that super chat. That's got 10 letters. I just know that it's got 10 letters. I look at it. Look, it's 10 letters. Why do you need to count?
Man, this is some savant shit.
I think you
I'm
might
tired.
be the weird one in this scenario, not the Americans. The Americans are usually the weird ones. I'm going to bat for my fellow Americans here.
Americans are only weird if they don't vote. Get fucked.
Stop saying Americans, because every time you say Americans, my brain goes 9 letters.
This sounds like
you're the weird one here.
This sounds like it's the you thing at this point. Yeah.
It's the you problem.
Man, you guys would be shit at crosswords.
Yes, I am shit at crosswords.
Oh,
Well,
Mentally ill, mate.
Brad gives $5 and says, I miss when Second Wind was just about creatives' ability to have a voice in their workplace instead of chasing ad dollars and nothing political.
no.
Winky face. Well, I'll tell you what, I feel like I have to be political because if Trump gets in again, you will not get so many fully emblematics anymore because I'm going to shoot myself in the face.
There you go. I feel like if that happened, you get no fully emblematics.
No. Well, maybe you could get a looky like in.
Yeah. Someone who can count the number of letters in a word very fast.
Yeah, that's part of the interview. The interview also has 9 letters.
Insane.
Abdul Karalis gives $5 says, hey guys, president sounds interesting, but how about best professor in games?
Ooh.
See, as I understand it, you're only a professor if you teach in a university. I mean, that's how you get that title. Otherwise, you're just a doctor.
I mean, fiction throws it around, like Professor Oak from Pokemon.
So does Oak,
who is arguably the worst.
So is Oak in tenured at a university?
You don't know. Like his lab is one room. His lab is in a studio apartment.
I know.
In a tiny village that has 4.
In a tiny village of 7.
Well, maybe he spends all his time doing academic field study.
He's been writing. He's been writing his dissertation this whole time.
Yeah, he's finishing his PhD.
Professor Layton, Meisterkleisterheister says, yes. Was he teaching in a university?
Yeah. I've got it.
Maybe that one kid was just his one student, and nobody else enrolled. So he figured, fuck it, let's just take him on holidays and do all the professing there.
Amazing. Fast track to get him fired.
Abdel Karalis gives $5 and says, hey, we've done that one. Urban M gives 25 PLNs and says, actually, Sid Meier told in his biography there was no such bug. It could just happen normally.
Sounds like a lie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like the story of how Donkey Kong was actually a mistranslation and it was supposed to be Monkey Kong. This
is a genuine question, and I'm gonna get shit for this, but I want to preface that I'm not saying this to throw any shade. How, and I want this answered. How involved was Sid Meier in the making of Civ? Because Tom Clancy's all of them. He's
I feel
not
like
at all,
in the original Civ, he would probably have been the only developer, pretty much.
Yeah, Tom Clancy was an author, and his stuff got adapted. Sid Meier was a game developer.
I'm just wondering how involved he was, because for all I know, he could have been obscenely heavily involved. I do not know. That's why I'm asking the question. I'm not throwing shade.
I believe heavily involved, and like Yachts mentioned, the development teams at that time were so small that if you were one of 8 people or one of 4 people, and so your thumbprint was all over it.
That's awesome.
Now I imagine much less so.
Yeah.
The Brain Sturgeon gives €6. Says, I said on Firelink that there's a Discworld TTRPG coming up. Would you GM a one-shot, Yahtzee? You've mentioned Pratchett being one of your inspirations. I don't feel like I could GM very well. I feel like I'd have all these great plans, and then all the players would go against them, and then I'd just get really flustered and annoyed.
Yeah.
All the puzzles would just be all of Yacht's puzzles would just be, how many letters are in this word, and we would all fail, and he'd get annoyed at us.
Or we'd start counting, and the character would just interject and be like, "It's 9. How come you didn't know it's 9? Just look at the word. It's 9."
Fox D is $5. It says leaders who get character development are underrated. Mayor Trudy, in My Time at Sandrock, goes from a wishy-washy leader to a badass wartime mayor.
Does My Time at Sandrock have a war?
Someone keeps bringing up Sandrock. I think it might be Fox D, but someone's just really invested in My Time at Sandrock.
I think Snake in the Garden plays the games. I know they're big games. 9 out of 10 on Steam.
I remember playing
Very
My Time
positive.
at Porsche. I just seemed like fairly nondescript as those sorts of things go.
Sandrock fix everything. Power of the stand.
I guess. Jules Rowe, member for 8 months in Tip Jar. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And then Lord of the Rings fan 193 gives $4.99 and says, "What would you rather make at home than order at a restaurant?"
Chili.
Cake.
You'd rather make a cake?
I would like. One of the things I've been making lately is oat flapjacks, which are different to flapjacks as Americans understand them.
Yes.
But I remember they always used to give us oat flapjacks at school, and they were sort of they're sort of like a chewy oat bar made from golden syrup and butter.
And they're delicious.
I've been making those because while they are very chewy and most people don't like them, they bring back nostalgic memories of school.
So
what
almost
are they like here
bars?
in England?
What's that?
Well, I was asking, what are they like here, like in America?
Well,
Flapjack.
in America, flapjacks are pancakes, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. A flapjack is another word for a pancake in America.
And in Britain, flapjacks are sort of oat bars made from golden syrup and oats.
So are those like granola bars almost? Like
sort of.
Granola bars?
They're like chewy and icky, like sticky, and then oat bars or granolas are dense. Yeah, granola bars are like crumbly and they break off when you bite them. These are chewy and dense, and
gotcha,
delicious. Yeah. Love them.
There you go. Jules Rogue is €2 and says, "What's your guys' stance on liver and onion sandwiches?"
Not crazy about liver. Love onions.
I don't think I've ever had liver and onions.
I feel like it's a generational thing. My mom and my grandma liked them, but like I feel like that's dying out with each generation.
Yeah, I've never been given one of these. I think I would backhand it if I did.
Love an onion. I can just do a sandwich with tomatoes and onions.
My only reference is that I once saw an episode of Doug when I was a kid, in which he had to contemplate eating liver and onions despite not liking them very much.
That's vintage Doug.
Happens.
Patty mayonnaise. That was the girl.
Now, Doug, there's a guy who comes across like he'd grow up and become a Trump voter.
Doug?
I don't know.
Patty rebukes his love and he just becomes an incel.
Yeah, that's the impression I get.
Impression that I get. Real big fish.
BS Marsh, member for 8 months in the Green Gang, says, "Vote for Harris to keep Yahtzee around. Vote for Harris because she's the fucking qualified candidate."
Also because Tim Walls owned a Dreamcast.
Yeah, he streamed Crazy Taxi with AOC not too long ago.
Which means he also is a fan of some of the best songs by The Offspring and Bad Religion, who are on the Crazy Taxi soundtrack. So
damn.
There is a non-zero chance that the future vice president had Sonic Adventure in his house as a kid.
See, any Sonic fans out there?
There is a possibility that he has opinions on the voice acting in Sonic Adventure.
First President, the Hedgehog. Casey says Doug named his baby sister Dirt Bike, so you might be right. Casey, don't you have the week off? What are you doing? Why are you listening to this?
What else would one do with their time if not listen to a wonderful podcast such as this?
Why did they let Doug name his sister Dirt Bike?
Because he's a
Skeeter
twat.
Valentine was his best friend. Skeeter Valentine.
Okay.
Roger Klotz was his nemesis. Pork Chop was his dog.
Yes, I remember all of these things. Are we encroaching upon a point, or are we just remembering?
Oh no, I was just naming Doug facts I remember. to impress you. You impressed everyone earlier with how many letters you knew in various words, and I'm impressing everyone that I remember some of the names of the Doug characters.
I'm more
Fair.
impressed with Marty's knowledge of Doug. Honestly,
Oh, really?
how many letters are in my name?
In Jamade, 3.
Oh fuck!
No, well,
Shit.
2. 8's not a letter; it's a number. Boom, roasted.
Oh.
Ooh. Bah, 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 bah.
Oh.
Shit,
Don't,
fuck.
I don't get any.
Your
I don't want any
your
points.
first name and last name contain 9 letters, Jay.
Holy shit! Yeah, they do.
There you go.
Spooky, man.
My full name is Benjamin Croshaw, which contains 15 letters.
Yeah. Benjamin.
Bloody hell.
The Beats were the name of a band that Doug wrote.
Yes, thank you.
Killer Tofu was their big song. Okay, I'm done. Go to the next one.
Fox D gives $2 and says, I have 1,400 plus hours in it. You should play it. Referencing my time at Sandrock.
Sounds like you got a lot of fucking time in Sandrock.
1,400 hours.
Well, gee, it
What
must
is
be
that
really
game?
good, or you must be really weird.
My eternity in Sandrock.
Well, I might have to take a look at it once I'm done with
What's
Dragon
the-
Age Veilguard this week.
What's the most time you have in a game that you look at and you're like, this is kind of weird that I have this much time in it?
I'll tell you what, I'll find out on my Steam profile.
I have weird. I've played a weird amount of the Pokemon card game over the past 4 days since it released
It's-
on mobile.
It's probably just going to be Stardew Valley for me, because I just put that on while listening to something else.
I don't think I've ever
Wow,
cracked
and-
1,000 on anything.
World of Warcraft. Anything I've got 1,000 in is World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, and Dota 2, League. Anything that you can is either getting crazy amounts of updates over 20 years or
Sure.
is repeatable. I've got lots of hours in. Got lots of time in Terraria. Fucking love Terraria. What a game.
Doodoo Man says Balatro was nearing 1,000 hours. That game came out this year.
Damn,
That
dude.
game came out in February.
Oh,
That's
okay.
crazy.
Wild.
The Steam game I have the most hours in is perhaps understandably Dark
Course.
Souls,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
and then Stardew Valley.
you have more time in Dark Souls than your own game?
What a dude.
That's great.
Crazy. And then the game I have the third most amount of time in is Persona 4 Golden. Would you believe? 160 hours in total.
Hell yeah.
Monster Hunters.
Damn.
Both Monster Hunters. I've got a bunch.
I've got FTL. I've got Binding of Isaac. Euro Truck Simulator 2.
I have 182 hours in PUBG Battlegrounds, and I despise that game. How is that possible?
Huh, guess you needed a lot of time to make your mind up on that one.
I think I played it with friends when it came out, and I just wanted to play with my mates, but I really don't like that game.
Would you call it like
That
stopping by the
surprises
pub?
me.
What are you doing tonight?
Mhm.
I'm just making it quick. I'm running to the pub quick tonight. You play a little
Yeah,
PUBG. Think about it.
PUBG.
Yeah. Stacy89 gives $10 and says, Jamate, I recently watched the YouTube video Building Civilization, a Sid Meier retrospective by Verac. I found Sid's story fascinating. He competed with Hasbro and beat them. Do you recommend a watch?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Definitely. That sounds amazing. Thank you. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be educated. It was a question of
Oh,
wanting
it's
to
a new
learn
vid
more.
too.
So I
It
really
only came
appreciate
out
that.
a few weeks ago, a few months ago.
Oh, beautiful.
He competed with
Thank you.
Hasbro. What was Hasbro doing?
Sussy Guru 2000 gives €5 and says, Today I learned that John Lear named his daughter Shanda.
Chandelier.
And
He'd be waiting his whole life to do that, I'm sure.
I got a doozy in the chamber. You just wait.
their son going to be called King?
Yeah.
Is there any weird thing you could call your future child to play off your surname? Think about it. You could call your Sterling, Marty.
Sterling Sleeper. Sterling Sleeper.
That's good.
Yeah.
The big one for me is not a first name, but giving them the middle name Can't.
Can't
Jade
read.
can't read.
Ha ha. My last name's Croshaw, so I could call my child Watar, and then the name would be Watar Croshaw for flying in the sky, idiot.
Fuck off. Oh god. What arms
Uh,
grow for?
Zaratha gives $5 and says, OMG, I've just remembered Sonic had plenty interactions with the US president. There's a photo of them together in Shadow the Hedgehog too.
There's a
Okay.
oh, yeah,
Was,
little Shadow
was that like a Forrest Gump thing where Sonic came and had to shake the president's hand?
He told JFK that he had to take a piss.
Yeah.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Who was the guy that Big Boss refused to shake hands with at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3? A president? I can't remember. There was a dude he refused to shake hands with in his the scene in the Oval Office, but was it the actual president or was it someone else?
Yeah, I can't remember. It was supposed to be like Nixon. I don't know what year Metal Gear Solid 3 ends in to where. I don't think they use real presidents, right?
I think they were sort of hedged the identity of the president in MGS3, but given that we know what year MGS3 takes place in, one could easily deduce who the president.
And they bring up Khrushchev and other historical figures.
I think it was Khrushchev that was the Russian leader in MGS3. So I assume the American president would have been. Okay, the chat tells us it was Lyndon Whip My Dick Out Johnson.
Incredible.
Famous for having big balls.
Colonel.
Yes.
Quadruple Tuning did have a great question too. Did Sonic kiss that president? Sonic is known to kiss.
Now let's be clear on this. It was the human lady who kissed Sonic, not the other way around.
Maybe he got a taste for it afterwards, like a vampire.
Sonic was unconscious at the time, so all of this is on the human girl, if you ask me.
Do we know what her name is?
Worse.
What's her name?
It was Princess something. Princess.
Do you think she'd make a good leader?
Thank you, Eric.
I don't think she'd make a good leader.
No,
well,
she's
around kissing hogs.
Creatures.
Well, she's got the woodland creature demographics sewn up.
Princess Elise. Great.
You know, I was playing Sonic X Shadow Generations, and I didn't know this, but apparently there was a weird blonde human girl in the backstory of Shadow as well. And there was also a slightly weird relationship with slightly romantic overtones going on there. So I don't think Shadow's anyone to judge.
I don't like this. Who writes this shit?
And do they have more things I can read? Just because I want to make sure other people don't see it. But if you could send me all of it and anything, especially that's 18 and older, anything that's explicit.
Man, Eric seems really invested in Sonic lore.
Eric is a massive Sonic fan.
Eric is insisting that Maria was more like a sister to Shadow.
Stepsister.
So it's incest as well on top of everything?
Oh,
get that shit away from me.
And then Mr. Arms and Legs gives 10 Canadian dollars and says, am I the only one who dislikes playing as the second in command, a la Red Dead Redemption 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla? It made the main character lack agency because they just followed whatever the leader said to do. Counterpoint, playing as Luigi in the Luigi's Mansion games. I don't mind playing the second banana then.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I feel like Arthur has a character arc, whereas Dutch, Arthur, by the end of Red Dead 2, finds peace in this world where Dutch, no spoilers, never does.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone just sort of has to come around to realizing that Dutch is full of shit.
Yeah. It's a real thing.
What a dickhead.
Well, that was the last super chat. So I guess we'll call it a podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. What was the other thing? Oh, yes. Fucking vote, Americans. Let's get the first female president. That even if it wasn't Trump as the alternative, first female president is a worthy enough goal.
Historical.
And the first vice president to have played Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, and possibly Sonic Adventure. I just want to know going forward that he has opinions on Sonic Adventure somewhere buried in his mind.
I think it was a 1-to-1 attach rate of Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure. I don't think it was legal to own.
Well, what else are you going to do with a fucking Dreamcast?
Yeah, Crazy Taxi,
I guess.
One of those games that was made in the 2 years of the console's life.
Yeah. One more super chat. Karagia gives gives $10 and says, fun president fact, LBJ took a piss in the fields of Texas one time and someone in his entourage asked if he was afraid of snakes, to which he replied, it's already half snake.
See, LBJ was a real...
Because he had such a large growler and he loved talking about it, apparently.
I like that you called it a growler.
What?
I think that's nice. I think it's
growler,
nice.
Yeah. A list unappreciated euphemism for penis, which also happens to contain 7 letters. I'm surprising you with it now.
I'm expecting it now, and it's still as horrific.
It legitimately shocked. I had forgotten about it. I erase everything. The recycling bin gets empty at every 5 minutes on a podcast. There's that snake.
I got to do it really fast to so it doesn't seem like I'm stalling for time to think about it. Unregistered, 12 letters. I just saw unregistered in the chat and decided to
fucking tell people what to watch.
Okay, watch Fully Ramblomatic this week. Fully Ramblomatic, which contains. Hang on, this is a tricky one. I need to tackle it in my head. Ramblomatic contains 11 letters. So
interesting to know. Yahtzee when he goes into his mind palace, he hums. It's good.
His mind library.
That's the air conditioner in the mind palace.
Also, topically, your Fully Ramblomatic this week will feature a former U.S. president.
Oh yes,
well, the game features.
Yeah. It's about Black Ops 6, which contains a little appearance by Bill Clinton. Yeah. You could appreciate what he looked like before he was a scarecrow.
Back when he was doing his morning jogs to McDonald's in his short shorts.
So that's my Fully Ramblomatic. I also have a semi-Ramblomatic dropping this week, which is on the subject of the game's play styles I just can't get into, and breaking down precisely why that should be when you get right down to it. All video games are basically just pressing buttons in response to stimuli. So what makes the things I can't play different?
Yeah. It was great, because I think everyone has those genres. If there's anyone who likes every genre, they're weird.
Nobody likes every genre. I mean, let us know if you do, and we'll hire you as a reviewer, but every critic has to specialize in something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've also got Yahtzee Tries on Wednesday, as always. Remember, there was a compilation Yahtzee Tries episode went out on Sunday, so check that out if you haven't already. And that's my stuff for this week.
Ooh.
So now, Jay, plug your stuff for this week.
Fuck. Streams. Yeah, I'm on streams while I'm finishing off the next Design Delve. We've got Dev Heads on Friday. We've got Resi 7. Probably. How many more do you reckon we've got, Marty, on Resi?
Probably 2, if that. We are. We just got into the freight to the freight ship in Resi 7.
Well, you're nearly done then, and just as well because it's not Halloween month anymore, you idiots. You need to think of a Thanksgiving game.
Oh God, yeah. Bring me that turkey game.
Mold monsters can turn into a turkey.
Yeah, just load up Doom 3 and play Super Turbo Turkey Puncher in the prologue for like 3 hours.
Sorted. Other than that, yeah, Dev Heads Friday, Curio Obscurio with Jesse on Sunday. And I think some point over this or the next few weeks, I'm going to be starting to do some more personal streams now that I've got a bit more time to do that. So keep an eye out for that. That's me.
Lovely. And then later tonight we'll have Hidden Gems. Casey, as I mentioned, is out this week, taking a little time off. But Nick is going to be joining them, and I believe Jenna Strober is going to be making her stream debut with us, who had 2 great bite sizes over the past week. They'll be streaming some horror game, something. I don't know what it is.
Okay, I can sense a presence moving in the front of my coat that I think has figured out that we're towards the end of the podcast.
Ooh.
And then we should have, at the end of the week, we'll probably be doing launch day streams for Slitterhead and Mario and Luigi Brothership. So there you go. Easy peasy.
Sick.
Oh, look at Tommy. It's like a chest burster. Look at a little chest burster.
I don't know why he's coming out. I already took him for his walk.
More walks.
But, now I'm going to go out and get my lunch, so maybe he's hoping to catch some breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
100%.
When I make my sandwich. All right. I'll see you all on Wednesday then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.